All right, 30 teams in 30 days. Today we're talking about the Minnesota Timberwolves. They just drafted Anthony Edwards with the number one pick in the draft. And they do have D'Angelo Russell and Carl Anthony Towns on their roster. What can the Timberwolves make some noise in the West this season?
First of all, I thought Anthony Edwards picked. It was the only right pick at number one. I thought Anthony Edwards was going to go number one from last year. I said no matter who has to pick, Anthony Edwards is going to go number one. If it's not the Golden State Warriors, even think if the Warriors had the number one pick, Anthony Edwards would have been number one. He's the best scorer in the draft. He has the potential to be one of the best shooters. He was a really good shooter coming out of high school, but obviously in college, he was taking a lot of bad shots because he was the only option on this team. He's getting double and triple team, and he was shooting high volume. So obviously his percentage wasn't there, and he has the ability to be one of the best defenders in this draft. When he wants to defend, this guy could be an elite defender. I'm talking an All NBA defender kind of player. But my problem with the Timberwolves is, what's the direction of this team? Like, are you still rebuilding? I can't tell you what direction this team is going in other than a rebuild. But it's like they're rebuilding, but you already have the players. Okay, you already have Carl Anthony Towns. You've had Andrew Wiggins for some time. You drafted Jared Culver, number 6 overall last year. And then you got D'Angelo Russell in there. Like, at some point, you need to bring in some veterans on this team, and you need to start making some noise. You brought in Jimmy Butler for that 1 year. You didn't want to pay him because you chose to pay Andrew Wiggins, and he got you the third seed in the West. You were the third seed in the West with Jimmy Butler and Andrew Wiggins and Carl Anthony Towns. Now people looking in hindsight, people looking at we are saying, how in the world did Jimmy Butler get these guys to the number 3 seed? Because these guys look like a bunch of scrubs right now. Like, people are not going to respect you unless you start doing. I don't care how talented you are. Talent is nothing unless the talent produces. That's the bottom line. This Timberwolves team, they need to start producing. I think they got a new coach, the young guy Ryan Saunders. He's there. I just don't know. You just have a bunch of young guys on this roster. The only old guy on this roster is James Johnson. And at this point, James Johnson he's not a starting forward in this league. At this point, he's just getting paid a bunch of money to really come off the bench. You need to bring in, where's the leader on this team? You had Evan Turner for a year. He's gone. I don't know. You need to bring in some leaders in this team. You need to bring in somebody. I don't think D'Angelo Russell is a point guard. I think he's more of a shooting guard. I think you need to bring in a point guard on this team. You need to bring in a leader. You need to do something with this team, because I'm tired of seeing this Timberwolves in this. They'd won this team, so like I say, they're in this constant loop of rebuild, like the Bulls, like the Kings, like the Pelicans. It just feels like they're always rebuilding. And at some point, like, y'all just need to make some moves. Y'all need to bring in some veterans, because I'm tired. I haven't watched one Timberwolves game last year. Reason being, what were they? They were like the last year. I haven't watched one Timberwolves game last year. Reason being is I know what they are. They're just a team with good young talent that are not going to win any games.
Yeah, the Timberwolves, after Jimmy Butler left them, that was a mess for them, because I even think they missed the playoffs that year. I think they ended up losing to Denver because they felt it was a number 3 seed, and then they fell all the way out of the playoffs. And Jimmy Butler exposed them for who they really are, just a bunch of spoiled kids who don't have that dog inside of them. And luckily they got rid of Andrew Wiggins because he is not the guy. He's not lived up to I think he got drafted number 1 overall. And he's not lived up quite to. I mean, he's a solid NBA player, but he has that next level, but he doesn't have that dog mentality to take himself to the next level. Cal Anthony Downs is really good, but he's just like another really good player on a bad team. He can't really elevate anybody on the team, mostly because he's a center. And, he needs someone who could get him the ball and do this and that, even though, he can shoot the three. He's a 50, 40, 90 guy for the most part, but he's still relying upon people. They did get D'Angelo Russell. They do have Ricky Rubio now. I'm pretty sure they have Ricky Rubio with that trade. Um, they got Ricky Rubio on this team, so I feel like he's going to help them. You saw what he did with the Suns. He's a solid veteran point guard. I think that's probably a good piece, the piece that you're talking about that they're missing. And I mean, if you just look at their roster, just other guys on their roster surrounded, like other than they have Anthony Edwards now, but we all know this. He's going to be a rookie. I mean, there's high expectations. He's the number 1 pick. but no one's expecting him to come in and change the life, the whole franchise for the Timberwolves. Nobody's expecting that with him. So I feel like this team, they don't make the playoffs. They don't make the playoffs. I don't think they. I mean, maybe it'll be a shock if they do. They did. We haven't seen them with D'Lo and Ricky Rubio and Anthony Edwards. They might bring a different flavor. I feel like this team definitely will have a different flavor, but I don't think they're quite there yet. You know what I mean?
All right. I hear you, and I hear Colin D. Towns is a great player, really close to 50, 40, 90 guy. I love Colin D. Towns. Number one pick, I think it was what, 2016, 15, or one of those years. I love Colin D. Towns. Everybody, you got to play some defense. You want to be a center in this league. You want to be a dominant big man. You got to play defense. You can't just be on here. You can't just be here just scoring baskets as a big man in this league. You got to play some defense. If you don't play defense, nobody else in this team is going to play defense. That's the reality of the situation. If people are looking at your center as barbecue chicken, that you're probably not going to win a lot of games in this league. And Colin Towns, yes, I know you can shoot the three, but please stay close to the basket. Please stay down low. You don't need to be shooting threes. Why are you taking the most 3-point shots on this team? You are the center. Get down low. You need to punish people. You need to punish people down low. That's what you need to do. Like, you tell Colin Towns is probably the second most talented big man in this league behind Anthony Davis. Yes, Jokic can pass the ball, but in terms of scoring, I don't think anyone is on Colin Towns' level. Davis in terms of scoring. Colin Towns, you need to get down low. You need to start punishing guys down low. I'm looking at this team. Their starting lineup next year is probably going to be Ricky Rubio starting at point. D'Lo the shooting guard. They're probably going to have Anthony Edwards, Jared Culver, and Colin Anthony Towns. They're probably going to get the number one pick next year. If that is your starting team in the Western Conference, you are probably going to get the number one pick again. And that's what I'm talking about, Timberwolves. And who in that starting line plays defense? Who in that? Jared Culver, he's going to have to move to one of the forward positions. And he's a shooting guy. He's going to have to move at one of the forward positions. This guy, I don't even think this guy 200 pounds yet. He came into draft. I think he was about he came in, I think he's like, 6? He was 6'6". I think they had him listed like 170 pounds. You're going to have to start guiding some forwards because with Ricky Rubio and D'Angelo Russell there, the guard position is going to be locked in. You're going to be going against the LeBrons. You're going to be going against the Kawhis, the PGs, guys like that. You need to play some defense and tell this team, as a young team, until this team stops playing some defense, they're not going to win any games. Yes, we know you guys can score, but you need to play defense. If you're not playing it when you're young, you're probably never going to play in your career. And I have to put that on the coach. I have to put that on the organization as well. You have to start keep holding these guys accountable. It's like, I feel like they treated these guys like puppies over the past few years. We heard Jimmy Butler say it. Anything else, their players showing it. Their players are showing me that these guys are being held accountable for their play. And that's my problem with Tim was I don't see how this team improves this year. I don't see who's there in the free agent market how they can improve. You already made a trade for D'Angelo Russell. You gave up 2 first-round picks for him. I just don't see Anthony Edwards. I think he's going to come in and score, but I think he's going to need the ball. And you're going to have Ricky Rubio and D'Angelo Russell in that backcourt. That's going to be some issues. We need to watch out for that. I just don't see how this team improves much. Like, it's not a good day to be a Timberwolves fan. It really isn't. It really isn't. I'm looking at this team. I'm thinking you're probably going to get a top 5 pick next year.
Yeah, they definitely will get a top 5 pick again next year. I mean, it's just this. I mean, you could argue they have a pretty good starting 5, but their issue is defense. They don't have no one on this team who could play defense, and I do feel like Cat can play defense. Like, he's definitely capable of being, a elite defender, but he just has to put in the effort. D'Lo, I'm not sure how much Anthony Edwards we're going to see of him right away because they're pretty heavy with guards. Don't forget they have Evan.
No, you have to start him. He's number one pick. He's going to be starting day one.
Yeah. But I mean, they do have a lot of pretty solid guards on this team. You got Jared Culver, don't forget Evan Turner is a guy who can come off the bench and get you a lot of buckets.
I think he's a free agent. I think Turner's a free agent. I don't think they re-signed him.
Yeah, and Ricky Rubio, obviously, we know what he's done We saw what he done in Phoenix and all those years with the Utah Jazz. And obviously D'Lo's gonna light you up for he's giving you at least 20 a minute. So I mean Edwards maybe they try to force him the ball, but D'Lo's gonna have the ball most of the time. So it's gonna be interesting to see like how much like how this actually works because they essentially play the
Minnes-
same position.
Minnesota, what you need to do, you got some free agents on the market. You got some dogs who we like to call on the market. Ibaka is going to be on the market. You need another stretch for a center that can play defense to play next to Karl Anthony Towns. You need to throw some money at Ibaka. I don't care what it takes. You need to throw some money at Ibaka. You got some of the Morris twins on the market. You got Jay Crowder on the market. You need to bring one of those guys in to play some defense because if you're relying on Anthony Edwards and Jared Culver to be guiding LeBron James, Kawhi Leonard, Paul George, and those guys, you're just not going to win games in the Western Conference. That's just the reality of the situation. So you need to look at some of those guys who's on the market, and you won't have to overpay because Minnesota is probably the coldest place in the NBA right now, and you're not a winning team, and it's the Western Conference. It's going to be tough. So you're going to have to pay some guys to come there, but that's the only thing you can do right now if you want to get into playoffs. And I think your ceiling right now is the 8th seed. I think that's your seed, and I don't think you get higher than the 8th seed, no matter who you bring in.